Hello, Internet friends. Chris Masto here. I wanted to say hi, especially to a bunch of new subscribers. Mikey Pipes has sent a whole bunch of people over to my channel. And hello, welcome. It's awesome to have you here. I hope you've clicked the subscribe button. I realize that right now my channel is a bit of a mess, and it's not super obvious what I do. Of course, I really don't know what I do, but the last 5 videos or so that I uploaded yesterday are clips I put up to try to explain something that's going on with my air conditioning system, and they're totally out of context. They're out of order, and without kind of knowing the background behind them, they don't make any sense. So if you like landed here and you're looking at the most recent videos and you're like, okay, I I was kind of not prepared for a bunch of people to show up. Sorry, I don't have snacks for you, but trust me, I will clean the place up a little and we'll have a party. But I guess I'll just get to that right at the beginning. So I have had a problem since last summer with my central AC, and that's part of the reason Mikey Pipes was here, was to try to diagnose the problem. From just a symptoms perspective, what I noticed was that sometimes it wasn't cooling, especially when it was really hot outside. The vents would be blowing warm air. And as I learned a little more about this stuff from kind of watching YouTube videos about HVAC, um, I I realized that it seemed to me that when this would be happening, I'd go outside and I'd look at the unit, and the compressor would not be running. The fan's running on the condenser, but the compressor was not running, which seems weird. And then I thought, okay, well, I've seen enough of these videos that it's got to be the capacitor, right? It's always the capacitor, and I'm a kind of an electronics person, so I have multimeters. I have lots of multimeters, so really easy for me to test the capacitor, and I know how to do it safely. I pulled the disconnect, I discharged it, all that stuff. But it says 40 on the capacitor, and it tested at 40 exactly. When you'll see that in the most recent Mikey Pipes video where he was here, same thing. He tested it at 41. So I was like, okay, the one thing I thought I knew I could fix myself wasn't the problem. So it's turned into a whole long thing. I didn't want to make like a long video here where I'm just talking about this, but I did want to clarify, because it's a little confusing if you watch the Pipe Doctor video. There's other stuff going on. It's kind of cut out the middle of a conversation we had. And really the problem that I've been experiencing over and over and over again is the compressor overheats and goes off on a thermal overload. It's not other things. And I do have a video, one of those recent videos I just put up was called "It's Definitely Thermal," because it's definitely thermal, and there I show that it is very clearly definitely thermal. So if you're like, oh, high pressure switch, it's not. It's definitely thermal. The question is why, and there are some interesting theories people have proposed. A lot of people are yelling, get rid of your stupid Nest thermostat. What do and to be honest, like, yes, I have a Nest thermostat. I've had them since actually literally the day they went on sale back in 2011. I found the email recently. I ordered mine on October 25th, 2011, the first day they went on sale, because I thought it was an innovative, it's hard. You got to think back 10 years ago. They were one of the first kind of Internet of Things, revolutionary. We're gonna look at this old dial on the wall that hasn't changed in forever, and we're gonna reinvent it. And I thought that was cool, and I ordered the thing. And suffice it to say that after 10 years, it's worn off. I don't love the product, but I also, I want to be data driven here. I want an explanation. The idea of just like, oh, Nest does weird things, that's kind of like magic or politics or something, where you can have an opinion. I hate those stupid things, but I would like that opinion to be backed up with, this is what's happening electrically. There's a 24-volt circuit. It comes from the transformer in the air handler in the attic. It goes through the thermostat. It eventually goes outside, and that triggers a relay to turn on the compressor. How is the thermostat able to cause the compressor to overheat through the only variable it can control, which is that circuit? And a couple people did answer me. Apologize for being a bit obnoxious there, but I was getting kind of, there's 500 plus comments on the video, And, there's a lot of jerks on the internet. So I was letting it get under my skin, and I was just like, because they're saying like, well, a homeowner should just, stay out of the way, go back inside, shut your mouth, shouldn't listen to him. And honestly, like, I get it. I've had jobs interacting with customers. I've had jobs going into people's homes and fixing their stuff. I know it's super frustrating, and I know a lot of people can be really annoying. And I know like some of the other HVAC channels I watch, they talk about the helicopter customers and stuff. And if you don't want people hanging over you, that's fine. I get it. But if you've noticed, like, Mikey Pipes likes to educate people. He likes to explain things. When the first time he came to my house to do the fin, I asked him. I said, "Do you want me to stay out of the way or what?" He's like, "No." So we have been having a dialogue about this system, and he already came here and replaced the TXV, and we thought that was the end of it, and it wasn't the end of it. So when he came back, and it's like not obvious what the problem is, we were talking about what it could be. And my day job at a tech company is very much like this. I have to investigate complicated broken systems. And this is the kind of conversation you have. Somebody says, "Oh, maybe it's X," and then the person says, "Well, I don't think it's X because then we would have seen Y." And maybe the first person says, "Well, actually, that only happens, under certain conditions, so it still could be." And this is just the back and forth. So, I'm not arguing with him when I say I don't think, I'm not convinced it's the Nest. And I'm happy to try things. Like yesterday, I took the Nest off the wall and I jumped out the connection to see if I could get it to fail without the Nest. Then I installed a common wire, crawled up into the attic last night. I will put up a video about that. And so, don't get me wrong. I'm not like a fanboy who's like, "Oh, I got to have my Nest." It's just that I'm really interested in understanding how that can cause the failure. So a couple people had good suggestions for how that could cause the failure. Short cycling. I mean, you can just throw your hands in the air and say, well, short cycling, right? The thermostat can obviously do that. It can turn the thing on and off and on and off. And I don't have any kind of delay in hardware on it. Excuse me. Apologize. Sometimes when I get into a rant here in the basement, I get a little verklempt. Yeah, so, you could just sort of go, "Oh, short cycling," and leave it at that, or you can start to get into some of the more detailed explanations of exactly what are we talking about here. One of the most interesting ones I heard was, I didn't know this, but scroll compressors, and I do have a scroll compressor in this, when they shut down, the pressure equalizing causes them to briefly turn backwards. And if they happen to be turning backwards when they're re-energized, they will actually try to continue to turn backwards, and they won't work, and that causes a loud noise, it causes overheating, and it'll just keep doing that until you either turn it back off or it trips its own protection circuit. So that is a possibility, right? If the Nest is blipping the power just briefly, possibly because it's recharging its batteries, because it doesn't have a common, possibly the voltage is reduced and the contactor is chattering, popping in and out. Or it might not even be Nest related, right? It could be the power itself. People have suggested maybe utility issue or brownout or loose connection or something like that could actually cause it to shut off and then come back on too quickly. And then if it gets into that state, then that might explain the problem. And I do have, that's why I put up some of the videos. I went back and I looked at some stuff I recorded and never uploaded where it was making a noise and not working. So that very much could be what was happening. Was it triggered by the Nest? Was it triggered by something else? It's a little bit hard to say. I'm still suspicious about this Nest theory just because I think I would see it. But we'll see, right? So what else? The other thing that people have suggested is that maybe it's actually the fan. And it could be a couple different problems, right? It could be simply the fan is just not performing well anymore. It's not blowing enough air, and therefore it's not cooling the coil. It's not extracting enough heat, and that's causing the compressor to overheat. Possible. I don't know how you'd measure that. I don't have the ability to test whether this fan is good or not. It seems like it's blowing the same amount of air it used to, But what do I know? The other possibility somebody suggested was the fan might actually be stopping because the fan it's an electronically commutated motor. In my world, we just say brushless motor, but I guess in the HVAC world, it's an ECM. But in any event, that's connected to the same 24-volt signal that drives the contactor, and maybe this motor, maybe that dips from 24 volts to 22 volts or 17 volts or something, and that's enough to keep the contactor in and the compressor going, but the fan doesn't like it and stops, and that could then cause the compressor to overheat. Now, when I go outside and I catch the fan is always running and the compressor's not, but that could happen after. So, maybe the fan comes back on. Again, there's a lot of like, it could be this, it could be that. And what I'm looking for is a way to systematically test these things and find the answer so that we know what to do. Otherwise, at some point, would just start replacing parts? I don't know. So anyway, that's the situation with the air conditioning. And I know it's impossible to expect people to have listened to this whole thing here and get to this point. So I'm going to just keep getting comments, people coming in and saying the same thing over and over again, which I've already talked about. But that's okay. That's life. So I do hope you'll stick around because I'm going to post some more content. I'm going to post some more interesting stuff. I've got a million things in progress. I was making a video about fuse testing, but to be honest, I think it's just a repeat of what's already up there. I might still post it because I put the effort into it. I'll tell you one thing about that Mikey Pipes. He is a YouTube machine. Like, he records these things on his phone. He was uploading the video of a service call at my house before and while we were talking about the fuses. Like, it was already posted. It takes me forever to edit a video. I just record all, and then I tend to record different angles, and I'm trying to sync the sound, and I'm trying to fix it and clean it up. And you wouldn't know it from the results because my videos are crap. But in any event, I tend to do. I like to explain things. I like to dick around with electronics. I like to make projects. Sometimes I do food things. I just do whatever comes to mind. I really don't have a theme or a plan for this channel. But the more subscribers I have, the more obligated I feel to produce quality content. And I really would love to do that and get to it. So I got a bunch of stuff in the queue, and I'm going to try to spend some time putting it together, putting it up. And please do let me know if you like it, or just let me know what would appeal to you. If you liked the fuse thing, I'd be glad to do similar videos like that. I have one I was going to do, like explaining how contactors work. I don't know, maybe it's too trivial. So yeah, I'm happy to take suggestions as well. And yeah, I have a real bad tendency to just talk and talk and talk. So I wanted to get this done pretty quickly, and I think I'm going to stop myself there because I'm already almost 15 minutes into it. If you've made it this far, you are a champion. Thank you. And I will see you in the next one.